This week at Interior, Secretary Bernhardt made his first visit to Montana as secretary. In Great Falls, he spoke at the Public Lands Council's national meeting about key issues facing Western ranchers. He also discussed recent changes to the Endangered Species Act and the relocation of Bureau of Land Management headquarters from Washington, D.C. to Grand Junction, Colorado. Secretary Bernhardt traveled to North Dakota this week, joined by U.S. Senators Kramer and Hoeven. His first stop was the town of Hope for a visit to a local landowner's tract of land and a roundtable with farmers and landowners to discuss preservation and land easement mapping issues. The following day at Theodore Roosevelt National Park, he inspected a roadway that's collapsed due to erosion along the 36-mile scenic loop and visited potential sites for the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. Secretary Bernhardt commended President Trump and President Niinisto of Finland. This week, the two leaders secured an agreement to return American Indian ancestral remains and funerary objects from Finland to the U.S. Those remains were taken over a century ago from the Mesa Verde site in what is now Colorado. Get the full story at DOI.gov. Secretary Bernhardt is also applauding President Trump's intent to nominate Kate McGregor as Deputy Secretary of the Interior. McGregor is currently the Deputy Chief of Staff, exercising the authority of the Deputy Secretary. McGregor worked on Capitol Hill for 10 years prior to joining the department in January 2017. And Secretary Bernhardt this week signed a letter assigning the authority of the Director of the National Park Service to David Vela. Vela is currently Deputy Director for Operations for NPS. Additionally, Lanny Erdos will now exercise the authority of the Director of the Office of Surface Mining, Reclamation, and Enforcement. Erdos is currently OSMRE's Principal Deputy Director. See the full list of DOI leadership at DOI.gov. The BLM's Fire Honor Guard traveled to Washington, D.C. this week for the annual National Fallen Firefighters Tribute. A ceremonial wreath-laying took place at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. That's where the BLM honored Brian Hughes, a National Park Service Arrowhead Interagency Hotshot Captain who died in the California Ferguson Fire in 2018. The National Park Service this week recognized 22 sites and programs as part of the African American Civil Rights Network. From the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington, D.C., the designation recognizes the importance of the civil rights movement and the sacrifices made by the people who fought against discrimination and segregation. Find out more at nps.gov. Zion National Park's Condor Chick has just taken its first flight. The chick is the first to successfully fledge at Zion since the Condor reintroduction program began back in the late 1990s. Check out nps.gov/Zion to see the whole story. Eddie Leroy from Eufaula, Alabama, is the winner of the Federal Duck Stamp Art Contest with his painting of a black-bellied whistling duck pair. Leroy's painting will now become the 2020-2021 Federal Migratory Bird Hunting and Conservation Stamp, or Duck Stamp. Get details at fws.gov. And our social media picture of the week, this fat brown bear at Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve. Getting ready for a long, cold winter means stuffing yourself for hibernation. The chubbiest bears of autumn tend to emerge the healthiest next spring. You can check out the fattest bears on Katmai's social media pages, #FatBearWeek. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's This Week at Interior.